Yes, now, yes, now. Smesh Bros MMA here. KDiggy taking over the reins of the host because we've got an unstable connection for the big dog. So it's good to see you. How we doing, boys? Shout out Jimbo Slice.
Yeah, I'm decent. I'm decent, thanks. Yeah, just looking forward to breaking down this card. To be honest, it's pretty sparse, but we can talk about the previous card where I've got some rinsing to do. Got a specific man on this podcast to rinse.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. I look forward to it. And Big Dog, how are you up there?
Still grieving. I'm still grieving the losses of the weekend. I'm not over it yet. But aside from that, I'm well.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It's really interesting stuff, what's been happening over the past couple of weeks. So we'll get right into it. We'll jump right into the news. First piece of news we have is Nate Diaz is calling out everybody in the lightweight division, specifically no one in the welterweight division. Jimbo, what's your first thoughts on this?
Well, my first thought was like, oh yeah, maybe he's moving back down to lightweight, but then he's calling out these lightweights to fight him at welterweight. So it just seems the most ridiculous thing in the world. To be honest, Nate seems, I don't want to say this, but he seems at the moment like he's got CTE coming on. It just seems deluded. It's like, what did he say, Charles Oliveira? Oh, I haven't lost to anyone. You what? You're 4-5, 5-4 in your last 9. Like, what are you on about? What are you on about? What is going on? But the thing is, he knows he's a draw. He knows wherever he'll be a main or a co-main of a big pay-per-view. So he can just say what he wants, do what he wants. But to be honest, just if you're going to call these people out, call people out that are going to fight you or actually fight. Like, I'm not going to mention like someone who could fight because it spoils a little bit of news later. But there's a number 3 ranked welterweight. He could have easily stepped in and fought then. Got a main event slot, but he's not going to because he wants to fight a lightweight. He wants to use a bit of a size advantage.
No, makes sense, mate. Makes sense. That CTE could be creeping back in. It did look a little bit lethargic in his interview. Big Dog, who do you think he should be calling out? Who do you think is the right fit?
Well, I think Nate Diaz. I don't care. I think Nate Diaz is an absolute clown. The way that he's there saying lightweight division dead, but I want to fight Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira. Fuck off. It was a joke, man, an absolute joke. And the audacity of Ariel Helwani talking on the show and, big up this huge interview. And the man's a clown, an absolute clown. Who was he beaten? Yeah, fair cop. He beat McGregor in 2016 on like 2 weeks' notice with a submission. He lost the rematch. And then he beat an undersized Anthony Pettis at welterweight. And then lost to Jorge Masvidal in a 15-minute beatdown. He doesn't deserve to fight anyone who's ranked. He doesn't deserve a top draw fight. Nate Diaz is the biggest clown of 2021 at the moment. And I think this idea that he should be fighting these top guys is laughable. It's completely laughable. What has happened to this glorious sport that a man that hasn't beaten anyone of any value in nearly 5 years is in a position of potentially fighting top draw, top flight contenders? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
You took the words out of my mouth there, lads. I think you're both completely right. It was interesting to see as well that Oliveira discarded that fight. He said he doesn't want it. He wants the title fight. So he's staying consistent to that, which is really good to see. Our second news of the day, of the week, should I say, is Chimaev is out against Edwards. For me, this is a heartbreaking one. Really, it's 3rd, 4th time it's supposed to have happened. It's got fireworks written all over this fight, but it seems like it's the Ferguson Khabib 2.0. Does anyone want to throw their opinions in on that one?
I'll take the reins.
You go first.
Yeah, this is where I think Nate Diaz should have stepped up and been like, yeah, I'll take that fight against a man who is probably next in line for a title shot if he gets through a fight. So you could have walked yourself straight back into a welterweight title fight. But to be honest, I think Leon Edwards, he now deserves. He deserves a Colby or someone else. Maybe Wonderboy, someone decent that can propel him immediately into a title shot after this, because he put up with being strong-armed. They removed him from the rankings. They kept pushing him to take this fight, taking this fight. No, I can't take this fight. I've got COVID. But he deserves something decent. He said he deserves something good to happen to him now as Leon. So, to be honest, I'm actually quite happy this has gone through, because I think personally it was a bit of a stylistic matchup for Leon. Don't know, though, because you don't know what Chimaev's actually like. But if Chimaev was as good as he looked against certain other people, but they aren't Leon Edwards, I don't think it would have been a brilliant stylistic matchup for Leon. But I just think Leon, for putting up with all that rubbish for 6 months, he deserves a big fight now. And to be honest, I'm glad they're moving on from this finally, because what was it been? Was it November originally it was supposed to be? Maybe December. It's supposed to be March now.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. Sorry, I want a bit of a rant then.
No, it's all right. BigDawg, I've got a question for you here, which could be of interest. Edwards hasn't fought since July 2019, which is over a year and a half ago, and we saw a similar story with Santiago Ponzinibbio a few weeks back, where he got demolished. Do you think the same thing could happen to Leon if he takes any more time?
You broke up, but I think you said you think the same thing could happen to Edwards if that happened to Ponzinibbio if he takes any more time off. For me, it's a slightly different scenario to the Ponzinibbio situation, because Ponzinibbio was ill for quite a prolonged period of time that didn't allow him to train. Aside from having COVID back end of last year, there's nothing really shining through that's saying that Edwards isn't training, he's not getting physically fit. And for me, I don't think it will have that impact. I was thinking whilst Jimbo Slice was ranting, when did Leon Edwards actually last fight? And July, when he beat RDA in 2019, and it's a long time. By the time, if he does fight on the March card, you're going to be talking, 20 months? 20-month layoff?
1 year.
It's a long time for any fighter. And, look what happened to Conor McGregor after a year off. He got knocked out in the second round against Poirier. I think he needs to fight on this card, does Edwards, to ensure that he isn't getting that ring rust, or if he does have any ring rust, that it's minimised to the highest capacity. What they're saying, the word on the street from Dana is that it's going to be Edwards, Colby fighting on that card. Number 1 contenders match to face the winner of Usman Burns, which I think it's a very, very, very tough matchup for Leon Edwards, especially coming off such a long layoff. You've got Colby, who's striking. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's pressure. It's great. He does good work. I think that Colby will put the pressure on Leon and just work him for 5 rounds. And I think that it needs to happen now for Leon to fight, to ensure that if he has any chance of beating Colby, it happens in March.
I want to have a bit of a counter to that. I do think if that is the fight, that Colby has the advantage, but Leon does have some excellent clinch work, which might negate some of the grappling. But I don't think they'll throw that fight away. I still think they really are trying to get Jorge versus Colby through. I still really think that's what they're trying to push to get through.
If it's up to me, I think Wonderboy Edwards is the better fight. But when you consider the rankings, Leon Colby makes more sense. You've got the 2 top boys in the division, aside from Gilbert Burns, who's fighting tomorrow now. It makes sense from a ranking standpoint. And for me, that's what this sport's all about: the best fighting the best. And I'd rather see that than a grudge match between Colby and Jorge at the moment. That'll come. That fight isn't going anywhere.
No, great stuff. I think that's all right. And there is obviously the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson as well, who's itching for a fight with a real contender after taking on some lower level guys. So it's really exciting up at the top there. Whatever happens, if Jorge decides to sit back, or if he wants to go for it, there's 4 guys in there who are absolute fireworks. So I think it is a great. So going down one weight class, we'll go to the lightweights and talk about the ultimate guy, the main man, Conor McGregor. He's itching for a third fight with Dustin Poirier. Jimbo, if they do step into the ring together again, do you think it'll be the same outcome, or do you think there'll be any changes made?
I think it depends how long it is. I think if it's in the summer, I do think it'll be the same outcome. I think Dustin has made too many leaps ahead now that in that period of time Conor can't grow that much. My main worry about this fight, I'm all for it being rebooked. My main worry is if they put it online for a title shot. I just think it'd be an absolute farce. Like, Dustin should be the champion now, but you can't be giving someone who's coming off a loss in the like in the way he was a title shot if it is a Conor McGregor one. If I believe if that fight goes ahead, Chandler versus Oliveira or Chandler versus Gaethje should be for the title. That shouldn't be for the title. That's my only concern. That if this fight goes ahead, I think it probably will be the same outcome. Maybe even a submission from Dustin now instead.
For you then, BigDawg, if McGregor Poirier is not the right fight for you, what is the right fight for Conor McGregor?
For Conor, that's a great question. The thing for me, when you consider the rankings, you consider people's position in the division, there's kind of only really two fights for me that make sense. And like I said, when we were talking about Conor's loss, the problem for him is that because of his star power, his credibility, his marketability, he's never going to be in these positions where he's fighting these lower level guys. He's always going to be fighting the top boys. And I don't think he's at that level anymore because of how long he's been out of the game for. 2016, 2015, Conor McGregor would beat anyone in that lightweight division. He was unbeatable. The flawless performance he had against Eddie Alvarez was something to behold. It was absolutely fantastic. But he's been out of the game too long. He's battered his body with booze and drugs. For me, the only fight that really makes sense is a trilogy match with Nate Diaz at the moment. You've got the King of the Clowns taking on the Apprentice. And I think it's a good match. You've got that bad blood and it's marketable. And it doesn't really have any bearings on the rankings or anything like that. It's a fight that people will buy, people will want to watch, and they'll pay money for it. But it doesn't have a bearing necessarily on the division. And if Diaz wins fair cop, he's up in the rankings, and he can have that fight with Poirier and Charles Oliveira that he's clamouring for. But for me, I don't really want to see McGregor in the title fold at the moment, following his loss to Poirier. The only fight is Diaz.
Yeah, for me, exactly the same there. I think Diaz gets what he wants in with McGregor, someone who's at lightweight who would be willing to chop and change his weight, and it wouldn't impact the rest of the divisions too much because Conor's always chopping and changing his weight to suit his opponents. And I think that it only makes sense there. Poirier, I think he can sit back and wait for something to happen. So we'll just have to see. It's a very exciting turn of events though in the lightweight division. For you, BigDawg, we've got Dana here. He's still blowing his trumpet about this incredible meeting that he's going to have with Khabib, and maybe something will happen. What's your take on this?
My take on this is Khabib has already quite openly said he is not interested in coming back. The man does not want to come back. Do not force his hand. Do not keep pestering him and bothering him. The man has said, give Poirier the title. Give him the title. If Khabib wants to take a step back, retire, by all means, let him do it. But this shambles that Dana is undertaking at the moment is completely just losing all credibility of anything in that division, because you've got Poirier who should be champ. You've got all these people waiting to fight that can't fight. Oliveira deserves a title shot. Poirier deserves a title shot. Make that for the title, and then have Chandler Gaethje as number one contender match. It's common sense. And if Khabib comes back, perfect. You book him against the champion. It's not hard. He did this with Conor, and Conor held the title at lightweight for well over a year, and there was no defense at any point. He needs to move on and just fucking get a new champion.
Jimbo, is Dana being stubborn, or is Khabib being stubborn in this situation?
I think the point with this just shows Dana is doing his. He doesn't. He's so bothered about losing his money. He sees that he is so close to a big money fight between the rematch between Conor and Khabib. If Conor wins this fight against Dustin, keeps seeing like there's so much money I can make here. There's so much money I can make here. I'm gonna try and I'm not gonna strip Khabib until that fight is completely dead in the water. I feel like, and it's just. It is dead in the water because Khabib doesn't want to return, but he doesn't see that. He sees like the Khabib will return. He will return. It's just a matter of time. And if he wants to return, do what he did with Conor. Conor held up the lightweight division in what was it? 2017 and there was no undisputed lightweight champion who defended the title since Eddie Alvarez at the end of 2016 up until Khabib defended it for the first time. It was just ridiculous. But he just needs to let this go. Like, he's the one that got away. Let him get away.
Yeah.
The thing for me as well, sorry, KDiggy, is that, Khabib it isn't holding the division up. It's not him. When it was Conor holding it up. It was Conor that was gone. Back in 2019 and 2020 when Khabib didn't fight and there was interim titles on the line, which I thought was a bit farcical. Now Khabib is saying, I'm out of the game. I'm done. I'm finished. I want to retire. I want to go be with my mum because of, I can't do this without my dad. And Dana should just respect his wishes and let him go.
Yeah, I agree. I think Khabib holds a lot of chips in terms of the UFC stock when it comes to the Eastern Europe and the Middle East. A lot of people do look up to him in that sort of region of the world as well as everywhere else. So I think he is a cornerstone in that sort of part of the world, and Dana wants to keep him around. But it is time to let go, let him make his own decisions, and go forward with it, because he's got firepower everywhere. Dana, in terms of the fighters, there'll be someone else who comes in who's a similar elk to Khabib. Half of his family fight in the UFC. So yeah, it will be. I'm sure it'll sort itself out, but we'll see how it goes. It's a really interesting take. And the last bit of news.
Hang on a minute. I've got something that I read. I don't know if you boys will have seen this. Yeah. I read this yesterday on Twitter, and it was someone's really hot take talking about markets and things like that. Someone's really hot take about how the UFC can break into China. Did either of you two see this?
I don't think
no.
It was saying put an event on in China and have the Leech fight Conor. So I want to go back to the Conor, what I think should happen for Conor. I want to suggest that, because I actually think that'd be quite a good fight.
I think Conor would get pieced. I genuinely think he'd get pieced up.
I don't know, but I just think I saw that and just thought, do you know what? It's a bit out there, but I'd watch it. It's a compelling matchup. You've got that lanky range against, a natural 155, and I thought, do you know what? I'd watch it, and I think it'd be a good match. So yeah, forget the Diaz trilogy. Let's knock that on the head. It's as dead as Khabib's UFC career. Let's have the Leech against Conor McGregor at 170 pounds. Beijing resolved.
Great.
That's the fight I want.
We've got you cut off a bit there, and you have frozen on us, BigDawg, but we got the majority of that. It's beautiful. I think the Leech would be a really, really interesting fight for Conor. For me personally, I do think that that Li Jingliang, however you say the name, it does need another fight before that does come to fruition against someone in the top 10. But
you know what? I'll have that fight. I'll have the fight any day of the week. Conor versus Li Jingliang.
He just needs to have a bit more of
Conor versus the Leech.
A bit more star power, and I'm 100% with you. But for now, Conor can just beat Diaz, and then Li Jingliang can do sort of what he wants. Let Conor lose.
What? Chinese government.
And then we'll go.
That Chinese government had put the money together for Conor. They'd put down that money. He can fight that lower ranked fighter when it's the Leech. He can't do it against anybody else. But the Chinese government will fund that and get it in there. Get a big name fight going on in China. It happened with bloody Manny Pacquiao when he was fighting in Macau, didn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's to say it's an exciting prospect, but I think Dana would want a little bit more star power on his name. Don't get me wrong, Santiago Ponzinibbio is a great fella to have beaten, but I think he needs one more before he goes it. But I love the take. Yeah, so move on from now with that one. So Bellator looking to have joined. They've signed up with BBC and the BBC iPlayer. Music to our ears, I think, here in the UK. I think it's a fantastic move by Bellator and the BBC by seeing this sort of this sport, which is obviously on the rise. Really exciting to get Bellator in the media and in the mainstream in the UK, and hopefully sort of turn some heads especially with the light heavyweight tournament coming up as well, which we haven't made a note on, which we can still discuss. So Bellator in the UK, is this a game changer for Bellator, Jimbo Slice?
Do you know what? I'm a big fan of this because if I ever wanted to watch Bellator, it was like, right, okay, is it on Channel 5? No. Okay, it's not on Channel 5. Is it on Sky Sports? Right, it's on some sort of Sky Sports. Which one is it on? Is it on Sky Sports Mix? Is it on this? Is it on that? You had to like go through 5 different things to find where Bellator was, and it was never consistent. So I now know Bellator, it's gonna be on BBC iPlayer, and sometimes even after I went through all those things, you couldn't find it. But now they're all gonna be on BBC iPlayer, and I can watch old man Yorm Romero fight Ring Rust Rumble Johnson, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll enjoy that fight so much. I'm going to enjoy that light heavyweight Grand Prix because it looks like they're actually trying to rush it through a bit more. They're going to have 1 week. They're going to have 2 of the open qualifiers, and the week after they're going to have 2 more. So they've got through the first round already. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we will. I think here at Smesh Bros MMA, we are going to have a breakdown of this all by itself. We can obviously skim over it for now. Obviously, there's some big names. Me and Jimbo Slice do appreciate the light heavyweight division in the Bellator as BigDawg doesn't as much as us. So obviously they're just really exciting. It looks like it's really exciting moves here made by Bellator. We've got Ryan Bader in there, and we've got Ryan Bader in there. We've got against Machida. We've got Corey Anderson against, I am not going to be able to pronounce that name, Vashadabradi. And then we've got.
I was coming at you with that. I was about to come at you with that. You say to me all the time, BigDawg, the Bellator light heavyweight tournament, the Bellator light heavyweight division is so much better. Who the fuck is Dovletzan Yagshermardov? I've never heard of that geezer in my life. You know, when
it's his first fight in the Bellator. It's his first fight in Bellator. He's been on the regional scene. He's done really well. So they've signed him for this tournament after supposedly KDiggy and Mousasi turned it down.
Jimbo. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
You mean to tell me, Jimbo Slice, that in the entire roster that Bellator have in this, amazing light heavyweight division, that the ones that they had already, when KDiggy Mousasi says, you know what, I'm not about that. They have to get some geezer from the regional scene. Where's Liam McGeary? Where's Brett McDermott?
Brett McDermott. They should have got Brett McDermott, to be fair. They should have got Brett. Should have got Big Brett. I don't know why.
So it is very exciting. We've got Phil Davis, Nemiroff, and then we've got obviously the one which everyone's excited about, Johnson and Nero.
Right. Oh, the big dog's carried on. He's carried on his rant.
Yeah, right. I think he's quiet.
Huge fight. I want actually. The thing for me that I find so amusing about this Bellator on BBC, obviously I'm really happy that it's happening because it means, like Jimbo said, we can watch it without any real hardship. The thing that I find is going to be so laughable though is that I've been clamouring for a section on BBC Sports of MMA for years, and we're going to get it, but it's not going to be about the UFC. It's going to purely be about Bellator. Who would have thought? What world do we live in? What world do we live in that Bellator is potentially going to be the premier global MMA organisation in the UK because it's going to do most access.
They've got more money, though, haven't they?
Very exciting stuff. Hopefully, Bellator can grow their brand as well from it. And yeah, it's easy, as Jimbo mentioned, much easier watching now. So it is very exciting. So that's a wrap of the news. Obviously, we can move on now into the actual what happened during the main card there. So so we obviously made our verdict picks last week. We didn't do a podcast, unfortunately, so we couldn't share them with all of our 0 followers. But it was quite exciting times, a bit of change. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. But we're going to jump into the results now and see what happened. Spoiler alert for last week on UFC. So I'm going to jump in for a really, really interesting fight. One which we all was really, really excited about was the Dariush and Ferreira fight. I think we all had sort of the same guy going in. Jimbo Slice, can you tell us what was going on with this fight, please?
Oh, yes, I can. This was my favourite fight on the card, and I think it won fight of the night as well. As all our 0 fans, as you say, know, I'm a bit of a Dariush fan. But I thought this was a tricky matchup for him, but someone who's very similar, probably a better ground game from overall. But Dariush, to be fair, he did really well on the ground in this fight. He on the feet, they were both trading punch for punch. I'd probably say even Ferreira, to a certain extent, might have been landing a bit cleaner, maybe. But Dariush just got him against the cage and controlled him. He controlled Diego Ferreira. Ferreira had some naughty escapes every now and then. He showed why he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Against someone who's a black belt as well. And to be fair, Dariush was doing a really good job of keeping himself safe. But Dariush was just won the first 2 rounds, controlled the cage, took him down, had like 6 minutes of control time halfway through the second round, I think, or at the end of the second round. And then the third round, to be fair, was a bit of the opposite. It was Ferreira controlling the cage, landing a few clean shots, and he took that round. But to me, it was a clear-cut 29-28 Dariush. The judges, 2 of them saw it 29-28 Dariush. One of them bizarrely saw it for Ferreira. I don't know which round. I don't know which other round you could have given to Ferreira apart from the third. It's arguable that you could have given it 30-27 to Dariush. That last round was so close. I think the verdict card had it like 0.01 to Ferreira. But to be honest, it was a great fight. Banging performance. Want to see Dariush fight those top 5s. The issue is, who's he going to fight? I want to see him fight Hooker or RDA. But to be honest, keep going, Dariush. Champion material.
Yeah, he's putting together a fantastic win streak now, Dariush. You saw how strong he was and how confident he was in that fight. Even though he did slip off a little bit in the third round, it sort of went as exactly as how I expected it. I got him as a decision on the verdict card. It was a great win for me. It's exactly what I needed. BigDawg, are you in the same mindset that Dariush should be propelled to that top 5 now? What's your take on that in such a strong division?
Where's he ranked now? Do we know what number he's at?
It must be 6 or 7.
9 now.
It's 9th. I mean, for me, the fight that makes sense, RDA. I think it's a good matchup for him. It fit nicely as a main event of a card. Anyone above him, really. He's fought enough people now at that lower tier of the top 15 to deserve and warrant a big fight. But I think the question comes with the division as it is, the logjam at the top. Realistically, there's Hooker to fight, there's RDA, possibly Paul Felder. I think one of those 3 fights, I've certainly got an appetite for it. And I feel that RDA is the best fight. I think it's the most compelling matchup of the 3.
Yeah, I've just got the rankings up here. In front of he's ranked 9th. In front of him is Hooker, RDA, Connor, Tony, Chandler, Oliveira, Gaethje, Poirier.
Fuck it, Tony Ferguson. Let's go.
That win has just got him. I think it's got him to the where he needs to be now to be where he could be a potential staple in the UFC. He's beat everyone he needs to be able to warrant one of these big guys on a big main card stage. So, and he deserves it. What's that? I think it's a 7-win streak. So, all the best to him. I think it's exciting next steps for Dariush.
We're a far cry. We're a far cry away from his, miserable 40-odd second loss to Alex Hernandez, aren't we? What people kind of looking back on him then in 2017, saying, what's it? How was it? No, it wasn't 2017. What it was 2018. What has he got left to give? And look at him now.
Yeah.
Surging contender. Fair play to them.
Great stuff. So the next one we have is Pantoja against Manuel Cape. Cape coming into this fight, I watched a few highlights of him. It was quite interesting, really. I think he did his time in Rising. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, but he spent a lot of time in Japan. A lot of time in Japan fighting as a bit of the cocky guy, and he's in a few videos where he's been a bit of the cocky guy and he got knocked out or he got choked out. He's a really interesting fighter with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And coming into this, I was quite excited about him being a potential prospect in that flyweight division. But unfortunately, the gritty vet Pantoja took over that fight and did what he needed to do. BigDawg, what did you think of Pantoja's performance here?
I just want to start off by saying that this is where the card really started to go wrong for me on the verdict. I had Pantoja initially via knockout in the first round, then changed my mind to a decision. And you come in saying, oh, yeah, Cape I've been doing my reading and my research on him. He's a big guy. Yeah, I got the pick right. I thought that Cape was going to win. But I think that, the real clown here is you, KDiggy, because you backed him massively. Pantoja, he's a grizzled veteran. He's not the oldest boy in the game. He's not the oldest boy in the field, but he's a grizzled veteran of that flyweight division now. He's fought pretty much everyone worth anything in that division, and he's a top boy. You to beat him, you're top of the division. You are one of the the top players. So he came out and just put on a great performance. I expected a knockout. I expected him to lay down those heavy hands. And he didn't, but he put on a dominant performance to get that win against Cape, and all credit to him. I just don't really know where he goes from here, because we've got a bit of a log jam at the top at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Maybe Asker off, whatever he's called.
I think Cape, not speaking to Cape, I think this could be it wasn't a horrendous performance. I think this could be a bit of an Eddie Alvarez situation. Come in, get your feeling out process done. And he might return. I think Cape might return with a bit of a fire under him. Come back and get a few wins. Maybe put himself towards the title. He's obviously not Yuri Prohaska. He's not coming as the rising superstar and put on a great performance like that. But I think there was something there when you watched him. I did pick Pantoja though, so I'm happy.
Good. Jimbo made a good decision there. Just want to make a mention now. It was unfortunate not to see Asker against Cody Statman. It was a really exciting fight in the making. I was doing my research on Asker as well, and it seemed like he was an exciting guy coming into that fight, and that was one of the guys that I did really back before that fight. So it was a shame that didn't happen. But moving into our next fight now, which was the old man. Should be on Bellator fight, which is the Clay Guida against Michael Johnson, and we were all in the group chat before these fights that day, and BigDawg was questioning our respect on the Clay Guida name, and then he ended up putting his own disrespect on the Clay Guida name by changing his mind and joining us in thinking Michael Johnson was going to win that fight. What made you change your mind, BigDawg?
I don't know. And do you know what? I regret my choice. I sat there looking at Michael Johnson and his form in recent years, and the lack thereof so to say. Since 2016, the man has won 3 fights. Before this fight, he was on a 3-fight losing streak. Losing to people. Stevie Ray, of all people, who was geesh, and he lost to him. Very, very, very bad pick by myself. Going against my gut, going against my head. I don't know what possessed me to change my pick from Clay Guida to Michael Johnson. I think it was you two saying he's just a better fighter. He's had better exposure to better quality opposition recently. He hasn't. When you actually break it down, he hasn't. And just a bad pick from myself. Clay Guida coming out and doing really what he's been known for over these last few years, kind of following Anthony Pettis' fight back in 2011 of being a fighter that, instead of coming out and being a brawler, bit of a wild man, he fights to win. And he did just that. He controlled Johnson throughout to get a clean sweep across the judges, and, fair play to that man. But I need to stop listening to you two in the picks, but saying that, as you'll find out in the next 2 fights, my own takes aren't always the best either.
Jimbo, have you got anything else to say about this fight or about the future of either of these two men?
I would make a joke and say, here we go, Johnson's going to become Bellator lightweight champion, but he's not, because Pitbull would actually destroy him. Pitbull would eat him alive. So, unfortunately, Michael Johnson's over to 1, I reckon. 1 FC.
I think he's I think he might retire. I don't think he's got that fire anymore, that burn, that, desire to compete. The way that he's been fighting for a while now doesn't strike me as someone who was that arsed anymore. So I think he's done.
I think he lost that fire when he lost to Darren Elkins. I think that loss to Darren Elkins broken. Because I think that was his last straw. He's like, I'm going to move to featherweight and I'm going to make a splash. I've done a bit bad here. I've lost to Diaz. I've lost to Khabib. I've lost to Gaethje. I'm going to move down. I'm going to make a bit of a splash in the featherweight division. And then he got subbed by Elkins, didn't he?
I don't know. I think it was the fight against Demet that did it for him. From memory, I'll double check and make sure I'm not wrong, but he put up quite a compelling performance against Josh Emmett before getting knocked out in the third. He might have even been winning. I'm just going to double check. But he hasn't been the same since.
He was winning from what I remember.
Knocked out cold. Yeah. He was winning quite comfortably.
It was
yeah.
Just so while you're having a quick look at that, BigDawg, it was great to see Clay Guida get back into it. You can just tell how much he does love it, love being in the ring, and love being a part of the UFC, fighting these vets and these fighters on the main stage. He's still got that fire in his belly. Not too sure how long he's got left. We've got here he's 39 years old. There obviously are a lot of fighters in that echelon who are that age, who are going either one way or the other. But I can't see there being much longer left for Clay in the UFC. Maybe just give him a few more younger lads now and let him ride off into the sunset. What's your take on that, Jimbo?
I was just about to say, give him a few more, let him ride off into the sunset. And I think the issue with, I'm just looking at Michael Johnson here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is he hasn't won since he fought Artem Lobov. So the GOAT put a curse on him and said, you're never going to win again. You fought me. You can never win again. That's what I think what's happened. I think Artem's cursed him.
Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, one which broke the hearts of many MMA fans all over the world. Two of them are in this very Zoom meeting ourselves. Myself, I'm going to give my little take on it before I'll pass it on to the poor lads. For me, I saw Sandhagen winning this as soon as this was announced. Sandhagen is a future contender. He's exciting. He's got power in his hands. He's got power in his feet, and as we've seen, he's got a lot of power in that knee, which Frankie found out the hard way. BigDawg, talk to me. How are you feeling?
Still upset. To be honest with you, I'm still upset. It's been, 6 days now since that fight, and I'm still upset about the outcome and what happened. Like I said to you boys, I think it was Sunday or Monday, that knee knocks anybody out. I don't think you can take that much from it. That knee would knock anybody out. Credit to Sandhagen. He landed a flush knee, but the fight didn't go long enough to really see anything. What would have happened if Frankie had managed to close that distance, get a takedown, get Sandhagen down? And there's still a lot of questions for me of that matchup. And I wouldn't actually mind seeing it, ran back again at some point if Edgar does come back. But yeah, absolutely heartbreaking to see Frankie losing the way he did. He says he's coming back. I don't know. I want to see him fight because he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And more importantly, my pound for pound list is now in absolute disarray. Having Edgar in that kind of lower end of it, I'm absolutely devastated. I'm devastated because Frankie Edgar for years has been one of my favourite fighters to watch. His footwork, the way he does everything, he's a hard grafter, and I love that about him. So to see him go out like that, get knocked out and just fall face down, stiff as a devastating.
Jimbo, I'll obviously let you have your rant on the fight as well, but where does this leave the bantamweight division with Corey Sandhagen?
This leaves. I think. I think he fights. He fights the winner of Jan and Sterling, which will be Sterling. I'm confident in my mind, hopefully. So I think that's what else can he do? He's had 2 wins since Sterling last fought, which I know that's not Sterling's fault because obviously he had to wait for then Jan to fight. He had to wait Jan to fight Aldo, and then he had to wait for that because Jan pushed it back. But he's done. Sandhagen's done a lot since he lost to Sterling, so I think he's earned himself a title shot, or he's earned himself a way to beat up TJ Dillashaw, which I'd love to see. I'd love to see him beat up TJ. But to me, this fight was hard. It was upsetting. It reminded me of when Yoel Romero kneed Chris Weidman, and I remember this is what stuck out from BigDawg saying to me. He sent me a text and I think he's dead. And that's what I felt like. I just had that text replaying in my mind, like the way he's fallen. Like he's not actually, but like it was horrendous. And the thing with Frankie Edgar, he holds a symbolic place in my heart as well. He's a fighter that helped form a friendship. Between me and the BigDawg. When we first met, we bonded over the UFC, and it's always been the BigDawg's favourite fighter, and because of that, I've always taken him on as a symbolic one of my favourite fighters too. So knowing how much this meant to him has also meant a lot to me. He is a hero of the division. He's the hero of the lightweight division is Frankie Edgar, and I hope he bounces back, or I hope he retires and he goes out as a hero, as a Hall of Famer, not only in his career, but also those fights with Gray Maynard.
Beautiful stuff. It's great to hear about you two holding hands and watching UFC back in the day. So moving on to the heavyweight division. Sorry, I had to throw something in there. Another fight which has seen a bit of a passing of the torch, similar to the co-main event. I'm not going to say anything about this one. I'm going to let Jimbo have a crack at this one first. Jimbo, what did you see in this fight? Volkov over.
I picked Volkov. I think I was the only one on this pod here that picked Volkov. I was originally going to go with Overeem, as I think Overeem's a technical fighter, probably the best technical heavyweight in the world. But his chin always lets him down. That's what I thought. His chin lets him down. And the men he's fought before he fought Volkov, as most heavyweights aren't technically brilliant. Most heavyweights aren't technically brilliant. I think I heard someone say the other day on Twitter there's like 5 technical heavyweights in the world, and one of them's Alistair Overeem, and the other one's Alexander Volkov. Is one of the few. So that's what I saw. I saw someone who could take advantages of sometimes the classic Overeem defense. He's sometimes got the kickboxing defense of put your things up there and hope your big gloves will cover it up. But you don't have your big gloves in MMA. People can take things around you and they'll just tee off on your body all day if you're doing that, or they'll take things around the side. And I was a bit shocked because this is the first fight that I remember recently that Overeem lost, that he lost all the way through. When he lost against Stipe, he was winning until he lost. When he lost against Rosenstrike, he was winning until he lost. This is the one that I can remember recently, apart from Curtis Blades, where he was losing all the way through. And I think the thing is, it's because he fought someone who is not as technically brilliant as him, but in the same league. And so he could take some advantages in Overeem's hands-up defence. That's what I saw.
What went wrong?
But obviously, I'm not.
What went wrong? Sorry. So, yeah. BigDawg, what went wrong for Alistair here? Did he come in mentally unprepared? Was he not physically prepared? What was the issue?
I don't know. You have to ask him that. I'm not Alistair Overeem, am I? I think it's time catching up with him. To be honest with you, he's 40 years old. Like Jimbo said, he's never really had that. He's never really had that chin to hold up at the heavyweight. And Alex Volkov is a long fighter. He's a rangy fighter, and unlike Stefan Struve, he knows how to use that range. He uses it really well. So I think it was a stylistic issue for him more than anything. Age catching up, but stylistically a tough fight because of the way that Volkov uses his range. And, credit where credit's due. I love Alistair Overeem. And again, it was absolute pure pain and devastation to see him losing the way he did. But Volkov, a really, really good performance from him. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with him because we're in a position again with a bit of a logjam at the top of the heavyweight division. You've got Blades fighting Lewis in a few weeks, which I think is going to be a great match. And obviously Volkov lost to Blades quite recently. He's lost to Lewis, albeit he was winning the fight until he wasn't. So for me, I think he should really fight, Francis Ngannou when he loses to Stipe Miocic.
That's an interesting take. I do ask you these questions, by the way, because you're the one who convinced me to choose Alistair Overeem. So I want to know what your excuse was, because I was Team Volkov as well, and then I got the bullshit spiel by Jimbo Slice and BigDawg saying that that Alistair Overeem has never lost until he's lost and all this bollocks. But yeah, so we'll move on from there. So we've got Volkov, who's in an exciting place now at the top, which is a bit of a, as we say, a bit of a log jam. But things need to be moved on apparently. So let's move them on. So let's be quick with this, boys. We usually take the piss with all this sort of shit. So we'll get our verdict picks out. We'll run through them, and then we'll laugh at each other's pick once we're done. So everyone, verdicts out, please. Get your verdicts out. First one we're going to go is Rodolfo Vieira. I've gone for a Rodolfo Vieira submission in the first round.
Same.
So I.
It's a clean sweep. Right. Love to hear it. It'll be an interesting fight. Obviously, it'll be one of the more difficult fights that he's had in the UFC, but I think this is a journey, which is a really exciting one for Rodolfo. So move on here. One of the ones which Jimbo, I'll let Jimbo go ahead with this one. And talk about his thoughts here with the Jim Miller fight.
Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. I've gone with a Bobby Green decision. Last year, Bobby Green had a pretty decent run. I think he lost one and he'd won like 2 or 3. He just beat Clay Guida in a pretty convincing fight. Jim Miller, I say, he's a man a bit old, a bit long in the tooth. So I think here Bobby's got the advantage on the feet. You can piece him up. If he goes to the ground, I do think Miller's going to win this. To be honest, he's got the crafty veteran submission skills. But I think if this is going to stay on the feet, I think Bobby Green's going to piece him apart.
BigDawg. He's frozen. Right. Okay. So for me,
What he said.
right. Okay. No, heard that. That's all good. So you've gone Bobby
I
Green.
completely agree with everything that Jimbo said. Bobby Green decision.
Great stuff. No, perfect. Well, that was my original one as well. But
Am I back? Am I with you?
your voices, but
Yes.
your videos not. But yeah. So I was thinking the same spiel as you lot. But the last minute, I've gone fuck it. I'm gonna go Miller. I'm gonna go with the guy who's I'm gonna go for the guy who's a bit long in the tooth and has been in the situation hundreds of times. Next one, we've got Julian Marquez against Makai Pitolo. So for myself, I've gone for Julian Marquez, first round submission. I've seen that Pitolo has lost a couple of times via decision, and I think for the XP, I'm going to put in Julian Marquez to do that to submit him in the first round. I feel like there hasn't been many submissions this year, and I feel like there's a few coming up in this card. Jimbo Slice, what's your take on that?
To be honest, I've gone with a Marquez decision. Did a bit of research into these guys, not particularly overly familiar with either, but from what I saw that I thought Marquez looked a bit better, looked the cleaner fighter. So I've gone with him by decision. I was thinking about going with him by knockout because he seemed pretty decent on the feet, but I've gone for a decision.
BigDawg, tell us what it is.
What Jimbo Slice said, Marcus decision.
Great stuff. Nice to see you two holding hands again, but like it was in 2015. Right. So next one, then we've got Kelvin Gastelum against Ian Heinisch. BigDawg, can you tell me about your pick first, please, and why you made it?
KG's back. KG's back.
KG.
This fight. He's lost 3 on the bounce. He needs to win. He needs to win in compelling fashion. I think he's going to come out there.
Yeah.
What's happened? Am I frozen again?
Yeah.
He's going to come out there.
Gastelum first round knockout. He needs to make a statement, and Heinisch isn't as good as one of my presenters is going to say now.
I like it. No, I like the commitment. I like the shout there. For myself, I've gone for Gastelum as well. To be honest, I should probably have a quick look, but on what it could be. That first round knockout does interest me, but I'm going to stick to my guns here. I'm going to go decision. It's only 3 rounds. Heinisch has been fighting well recently to the lead up to get a fighter like Kelvin Gastelum. So I think Kelvin will hopefully has found a bit of motivation to be able to beat a fighter like Ian Heinisch. And if he doesn't, the career could go downhill very quickly. Jimbo Slice, tell us what you think.
I'm all in on Heinisch. I'm all in. I've gone big here. I've put lots of XP on Heinisch. I'm big on Heinisch. I know he's won one and he's lost 2 previous against like Medov and Brunson, but I don't care. I'm still here. I think he does some pretty nifty stuff when he's on his back. Been trying to get up. He just goes for it. But I think he's been training with Tiger Muay Thai here. He's going to knock some people out. He knocks Gerald Mearshart out in just under a minute and a half. So I think he's going to come in and he's going to do something He's going to do something. He's going to make a statement. And after turning his life around after being a troubled youth, I've got to go all in. I'm going all in on Heinisch. I think he's going to go and he's going to come out there. He's going to stand in these Muay Thai stance. I think he's going to knock him out. But actually, I've gone for a decision. I think he's going to go for decision. Really.
Love it, mate. I love it. I didn't realise that the big Ian Heinisch was a naughty boy growing up. That's interesting to know.
Oh, he was a very naughty boy. He fled the country.
He fled it.
He was a very naughty boy.
Which way did he go? Did he go north or south?
He fled to. He fled somewhere, got caught, and then ended up doing time in prison in the Canary Islands, and then got sent back to America and did another few years in American prison.
Fair enough. Well, he's being back on his feet and got to lose against Kelvin Gastelum. It's very interesting. Very interesting career. One day they'll write a story about it, I'm sure. Move on. We'll move on to the co-main. Questionably, should this be the co-main event when this card is relatively stacked in a way? It's well padded out, should I say? It's not, for me, it doesn't have that star power, but it's very well padded out. We're going to go Macy Barber, the future Macy Barber, should we call her, or against Alexa Grasso. Jimbo Slice, can you give me a pick, please?
I've gone for Alexa Grasso. I think she's just going to... I've gone for Alexa Grasso by decision because that's what happens in the women's flyweight division. There's not many knockouts. She's won 8 by decision out of the 12. So I think she's going to win by decision again because I think really, I don't know what Macy Barber's leg's going to be like. She might not have it. You kick her leg a few times, see what happens. If that's compromised immediately, you just keep doing that for the rest of that fight. And to be honest, Macy Barber just seemed... I was on board, but she seemed a bit cocky in her last fight against Modafferi. Got destroyed by Modafferi. I'm glad she did because she was getting cocky, and I hope that she gets humbled again before she can return.
BigDawg, is the future bad news for the future?
Macy Barber's overrated. Alexa Grasso decision.
Ooh, right, okay. So it looks like I'm riding solo on this one as well. I'm hoping that Macy's still learning. She's still learning in her development. Hopefully she's taken a lot from her last fight with Roxy, and can get a. She needs something big coming up here, and I'm hoping that it's going to be via submission in the second round. And it's a lot of XP if that comes through as well. So it's really exciting stuff. Final fight. Here we go. Jimbo. Actually, I'm going to go BigDawg, and then I'm going to go to me, and I'm going to end on Jimbo because I know what he's thinking, and I know what I'm thinking, and I'm just interested to know what the Jimbo Slice is going to say. So I'm going to go first. For me, Kamaru Usman, I can't see anyone knocking him out. His ground game's too strong. He's when he weighs at 100, 170, but he goes in and he must be 185 minimum. The guy is an absolute machine, and I cannot see anyone apart from Colby Covington even coming close to beating Kamaru Usman, and that's why. But Usman's not a finisher. He's just going to grind Gilbert Burns down for 5 rounds and destroy him. Tell me I'm wrong, BigDawg.
I think you are wrong. The thing for me that I agree that Usman is a very dominant fighter. He's a great fighter. His work against the cage and the clinch is phenomenal, and he's a big boy for the division. The thing for me is that Gilbert Burns has just got more paths to victory than Usman does. He's got the power in his hands and the capability in his hands to knock him out. He's got the groundwork to submit him if Usman's on top. The question mark for me is that Usman has been training with Trevor Whitman, and is that going to improve his striking? But my concern with that is as well, how long has it been there for? When people change camps, there can sometimes be a bit of a buffer period where there's issues. I think Burns is going to knock him out in the second round.
Interesting stuff. Okay, Jimbo Slice, who are you going with?
As you know, I've actually been going back and forth in this fight all day. Now, I am 100% of a belief that Kamaru Usman is the better fighter than Gilbert Burns. I think he's the better fighter, no doubt.
Which way on the fence here, BigDawg?
But
the fence
I think Gilbert Burns is a stylistic nightmare for Kamaru Usman. If Usman takes him down, Gilbert Burns, he'll do something off his back. He'll do something off his back, so he's not going to take him down. I heard something as well. This is the thing that swayed me, that Usman supposedly doesn't have brilliant knees. And that's not like physical knees. He's supposedly damaged them over his career. So all I was thinking is, surely Burns will know how bad they are. He can take advantage of that with some kicks. And I actually think Usman's the better boxer technically as well. But I think the power of Burns will be the factor here. So I have eventually decided to settle on Burns knockout round 3.
Very interesting stuff. No, I thank you both for your time today. It's been a really interesting one with the big dogs connection being a bit on and off, but we'll obviously time will tell in these results. And I wish you both the worst of luck, because I want all my fights to be right and all of yours to be wrong. But Smash Bros MMA out. Peace.